that's one thing that has kept me going is, okay, so I don't have all these things that have happened to me. I don't have control over these things. So what do I have? And every time it's okay, I
For
can
me,
do this.
depression is like a shadow. Like for me, it's always that thing over my head that's staying over me, like like a darkness. But the thing about darkness is there's always gonna be light. You know what I mean? There's always
Josh, you're onto something. This is something that I'm still working on, right? Like this is something that I believe might be true, and it seems as though it is that. Again, back to perspective, where it's how can you appreciate the good times and the people that care about you, and how can you appreciate all that stuff without knowing darkness? I guess we'll just start there, Josh. It's been a while since we chatted. I know that there's a lot of things on your plate that you had, and there was a lot of concerns, a lot of worries that you had. And you moved in with Mike, right? And what was that like when you first started, and what is it like now?
When I first started, I was very optimistic.
Mhm.
I was very excited because it was change. And full stop, I still am a little proud of myself for doing that, for making the
Yeah.
change, trying. I learned some things. But to be honest, with you, um, I'm not happy
Mhm.
about. I think I kind of rushed into it because I want to get out of my mom's house.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it all the way through because the thing about living out here is there's no Uber, there's no Lyft. I don't have a car, I don't have a driver's license, so there's no Lyft,
Yeah.
there's no Uber. He works all the time, like 6 days a week, so I don't have any way to get to work. If I was working, I had no way. And I only, to be honest, like I feel like I kind of failed in a way. To me, I'm not just being, I hate to be, it's the point. I was just saying anything
Yeah.
negative, but yeah, it's just honestly how I feel because, to be honest with you, I didn't really do much. I tried to work. I did snow removal for a while for like the apartment complex. That didn't work out. I realized when I was the whole 2 years that I realized that I thought I could do it by myself. I can't.
Mm.
I really thought I could do it without any of my family's help. And I took them for granted, I realized, because I thought I could, you know what I mean? I was pushing myself a little too far. I thought I could do it and be by myself and rely on myself. I couldn't do it.
Now, Josh, for anybody that doesn't know, who's maybe watching this for the first time and doesn't know your story, you have a lot of challenges on
Yeah.
your plate. One of them is that you're on the autism spectrum,
Yes.
and so that is a challenge in itself. And then
Yeah.
also, um, you've been battled with depression and
Bipolar
uh,
depression.
yes, and so you're on medication, and so or you're at least you're supposed
I
to be on
was.
medication.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
supposed to be, yes.
exactly. And so then you have all these challenges that on top of adulthood that you have this
And then a
and
bunch of medical problems too. Yeah.
yeah, and so then one of the things you tried to do, which applaud you for, by the way,
Nice job.
was that you tried it with all those things on your plate. You're like, well, I need to make a move here because your parents' house was condemned. It was there's unfortunately like a fire inside, and it really damaged the house,
Yeah,
right?
it was happening about a year ago. We'll get to
Ex-
that.
Yes, exactly. But you have that, right? That was all on your plate, and so the next logical move was, well, I need to try to go and see if I can
Well, see,
work.
the moving part was before the fire.
Oh,
So
right. I'm sorry. Yeah. So you moved out, and then the fire happened. Yes.
yes, I moved out. The fire happened a year later. What
Okay.
happened was I moved out because things, living in a house, it was a great, like a lot of good memories. But most of them were kind of bad memories of my
Right.
grandma drinking, just abuse, mental abuse, kind of.
So
I
with
wanted
your
to get out there. Huh?
with your family members, right? It was with your mom and with your brother, you were having a lot of problems, and that's what made you
Yeah.
want to leave. Yes.
Yes. And the fact the house was kind of falling apart, leaks,
Right.
damage. Um, so then I didn't want to leave. I thought I couldn't. I literally inside my own head, I thought if I live here, I never like at this moment, I'll probably end up just like I will never make it anywhere. I'll be stuck in the same position. And I thought, you know what? Now is the time to actually try
Yeah.
to live my own, just to see what it's like.
Hmm.
And the fool I don't want to say foolish, that's a little harsh on myself and being too hard on myself. But I was a little naive because I thought I would be living in Wisconsin the rest of my life.
Hmm.
I literally did.
Well, I don't
And
think it's naive, Josh. I don't think
no,
it's naive for you to have thought that because you deserve to be somewhere where you feel like is home
nice, dude.
and so that was your plan. I mean, you told me that
Yes.
you wanted to go somewhere where you felt like it was home and you didn't have to worry about getting into fights with people you live with and not feeling like safe in your house. And that's
Yeah.
what you did. You moved and you left with the idea of like I want to go somewhere where it feels like home. And I don't think that that's naive. I think that that is something that everybody
Yeah.
deserves, is that you should have a home where you feel safe. I think that that's the most
And
basic.
that was one thing I'll admit. Sorry for rubbing it. That was one
No, no,
thing
no.
I'll admit that I got was good. It's good, chill. But the thing I didn't realize, to be honest with you, Josh, is I didn't realize that it went deeper than that.
Hmm.
I still had anger issues.
Right.
Still got mad at Mike a little bit. I'll admit it. We got in arguments. It still was that problem. I thought it would go away. I thought, oh wow, I'll be fine. That's where naive comes. I was like, oh, we're gonna be perfect together. Now, I mean, we live with someone. I mean, I love Mike, but we have our differences.
Absolutely.
Everybody does. And I didn't realize how hard it would be to live with your best friend when you're best friends. But real talk, like it's a very hard thing to do, especially when you've been your best friends for ages. It changes things.
Hmm.
Like it really does. I love Mike still. He's one of my best friends, but to be honest, it changes your relationship a little bit. I'm sure you've done before too.
I'm living
And
with one of my best friends now. Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah, David and all that stuff. So it changed things because you look at him a different way, and he looks at me a different way. And to be honest with you, I don't know if he feels this way, but I feel like I kind of failed him in a way, a little bit,
Why do you feel
tiny,
that way?
because I didn't really work really the whole time almost.
Did you try?
Yeah,
Mm.
every time I went to try, something would get in the way. It seems like, and at that point, eventually, I just gave up.
What do you think? What do you think is challenging for you when it comes to work? I know that you mentioned to me
Yeah,
before that because you've worked a job before, yeah, like
still
GameStop.
have plenty. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
it's been a while, but yes, I worked plenty of jobs.
And so you've had you've worked jobs before, but you let me know that there was challenges. What's the challenges for you when you go to those jobs?
I think the challenge for me is, to be honest, it's like the pressure of like
Mhm.
like the stress and the pressure and the like here's a good example: being productive and being calm under pressure, work pressure. I struggle with that a million times. It's so hard for me.
Mm.
Like I guess why I could never be a chef, and I want to learn how to cook. We're gonna trace that dream, but like I don't think I ever been in a big kitchen or a big like like being like something that you have to be like
Like
productive
high
really fast.
pressure. Yeah.
Yes, fast and efficient with your work. I can't do that. I literally just can't. It's too much and it stresses me out a lot. So I was trying to. Eventually I do want to get past that. You know, yeah, so reach for the stars. I want to push past that,
Yeah.
but I really struggle with that. That's the main thing. That's why all my jobs have quit like 5 months in or like a month in or something
Yeah.
because
It's the pressure.
yes, and
Hmm.
it's the pressure from not just working, but from managers, from myself, mainly myself, even. Because the thing that I realized, Josh, is I have too much expectation for myself.
Hmm.
That's one thing I want to work on. Is I want to, kind of bring those down a bit. Because I had these so high expectations for myself, and I'm so hard on myself
Hmm.
that I feel like that's my worst enemy. I'm my worst enemy. I'll admit it. I am.
I well, I tell you, I mean, those are thoughts that I have. You know, like
Yeah.
when I go. In fact, I'll tell you this. When I was in
Yeah.
management, uh, I guess I'll just leave the company out of it. But when I was,
I know what it is already. So yeah.
yeah, when I was in management, I it was a high pressure environment, um, and I had a lot of feelings of wanting to make those people proud. To like, hey, I'll show you that I do a good job,
Yeah.
and so in those environments where it's high pressure, low, it's not only high pressure but low, low thank you rates, low
Yeah, no one.
appreciation.
That's what I realized too. And those high jobs, no one, even if you're not a manager, especially,
Yeah.
no one ever says like. That's one thing I have a hard time dealing with too. Like you said, is no one
So
ever seems like they appreciate it.
I exactly, it's low appreciation and so like for me, I that was a struggle for me.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, that was something that did me in on top of the problems I had on my plate, which
Yeah.
was just a bunch of things of like, man, everything's failing, everything's not going well.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you, even for me, that stuff is really, really hard. And so I wonder then, have you thought about like what is it that you might want to, because you might want to do something that's what would be low pressure environment that you could do? Like what is it, something that, I mean, you love games, right? You love
Yeah. I do.
and
Anime, music, all the stuff.
you talked a lot about wanting to do like game reviews and
Well, that was something I wanted to bring up.
mhm,
Eventually, we could is now's the time
mhm,
to bring it up. I do want to do my own channel eventually.
yeah.
I really do. For a while, it was like I don't know if I could do it, but as I get older, I feel like I gotta get going on it because not saying you should be old doing it. Like the fucking
Mhm,
there's a grandma who plays Skyrim, and she's
yeah.
like, Shirley Curley. She's amazing. She plays, what Skyrim is, right? The big old
Yep.
world game. She plays that, and she was doing it for years, and she was millions, like thousands of views. She's awesome. And she's only
Yeah.
75. So like you can do it anytime you want, but I want to do it now so I can
Yeah.
get go.
Yeah, well, it's important, Josh, that you have something that even if it's not to make money, I
Yeah,
think that a good start is to have something you can come home to, like you can call home, right?
yeah,
Like for me, this stuff, no matter how crazy the world gets for me, I can sit down and have chats with people, and it's just me and them. And the way that it's just me and you right now, I can sit down and even though this thing isn't making me money, but it is giving me something, and it is giving me
yeah.
that safe home, like where I'm nobody's gonna yell at me, nobody's gonna tell me you're
I
doing
do.
a good
That's
bad
one thing I do
job.
like. Sorry for up you.
You
I
go
always
for it.
interrupt people.
No, go
I
for it.
I do value about this channel is when I come talk to you, you know, especially the first time and this time. In the moment of time, Mike was good, but it was it's two of us, so it was a little hard for
Yeah,
me. But when it's just me and you, I feel like there's nothing that can go wrong. We're just talking. And that's what I love about it. All your videos are like that. Like there's no like, all you got to go in time, no pressure. No one's pressuring to talk about it. You just talk. It's great.
it's just
I value your. That's why I was gonna ask you eventually if like
mhm.
how would I get started on the channel? Like I do want to talk to you about it eventually because I don't know where to start. I really don't.
Well, we can start today, man. What is it that you would like specifically to work on? Are you wanting to do like you mentioned stuff like with Skyrim and all that? Do you want to do playthroughs? Like what specifically do you think you want to do?
I That's the thing. I don't know like 100%
Okay.
yet,
Mhm.
but it's something. Say we're doing music or anime or video games. Because those are the three mainstays.
Yeah.
So metal and music, heavy metal or whatever, music in general. 'Cause I don't just like I like all kind of music.
Okay, so you want to be a media channel. Is that right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you want to do video games, you want to do commentaries on anime, on
Yes.
like
Kind of like in
okay.
general. Yes.
Okay.
To
So
kind of
then
put my ideas in.
so in a perfect world, where do you see yourself? Do you think that you'd be doing reviews on them, commentaries about your playthroughs? Is that all you would
Yeah,
something
like
you want to do?
discussion about what I think of what coming out, look backs on stuff from the past, you know, talk about my friends, maybe have like kind of podcast discussions, but mostly just me sitting down, maybe with some friends, because David has a channel too. I love to have him on my channel. That'd be kind of
Mhm.
fun. But like in terms of starting out, me talking about what I love. I gotta be honest, before we talk about that, your channel is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I
You're not
really
subscribed to
appreciate
this
that.
channel right now. You subscribe right now.
Thank
Subscribe
you,
now.
man. That's
Subscribe right
that's
now.
too nice.
So it goes in like sections. There's the childhood, and that very first game was Spiral the Dragon on PS1. I got it for Christmas.
Mhm.
I had a PS1, a PlayStation 1, and it was like original PlayStation. It was like this, like the PS1, but it has a screen on it. It's a little
Mhm.
like laptop screen.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my god, I used to play this shit like every day. It was just fun. Like I just sit and play Spiral all fucking day. It's like
Spyro.
wrestling
I'll,
games.
I'll tell you, Spyro was a huge player in my childhood. My cousin was a huge Spyro fan, and it was on the PlayStation 1 was where I first played that game, and it was fun. You know why? Because what I loved about it is it wasn't an open world game, but it felt the most open world back then.
It
Uh,
did. Like the,
mhm.
the backdrops, like your fantasy,
You could
just
fly, like you just it was
I feel like back then, I know people like kids now like open world this. That game felt like it was real. Like I was there.
Yeah,
Um,
and so Spyro then I think would be a good start. Yes.
yes, and did you know the soundtrack was done by the guy the drummer of Police, the Police.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't. Dude, every time I'm like on the spot, I can't think of their name.
No,
But
that's
yeah,
okay. But the drummer from Police.
Yeah, the drummer of Police. He did the soundtrack of the first game.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, just banging.
So you taught me that because that was something that I didn't know, and I played that game when I was a kid too, but didn't
Yeah,
know that.
if you ever notice in the soundtrack, it's very percussion based,
Yeah.
and he's the drummer, so that's why it's so
Very interesting. So then that's what we could be your focal point is talking about little things about, let's say, games that you really enjoyed that people might have not thought like, hey, this had this connection. And
okay. I'm not gonna go in detail into that.
Well, you
Spyro,
as smart as you want.
Spyro, Sly Cooper 2, Jack and Daxter, and like Ratchet and Clank. Those like the childhood days part 2. Then it goes to my middle school days, which are Team Fortress 2, Gears of War 2 and 1, and Fall 3 and BioShock. Those are like the games that I grew up in middle school
Yeah.
as a kid being bullied. That's why I would play to just escape from it all. No, and I played you and David and Nick,
Yeah.
and we played for hours. It was so
Yeah.
fun. Gears of War 3, dude.
Yeah.
Man.
Gears of War was a staple video game that brought all of our friends together.
Goddamn retro lancers. Holy no.
No, we had a lot of fun on online matches. We would play for hours. We would do almost every weekend. The sawed-off shotgun was OP in my opinion.
The ruiner of friendships, not Mario Party.
Yeah, that was for us. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. So I think right. So we got Spyro as our first one, but it looks like we're gonna talk about a couple things, right? So you're gonna go into wrestling, which is a huge video game.
Yeah, that was a huge thing for me, kid. Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so Spyro is going to be our first one, and we're going to chat about. Let's see, what would be. So you talked about the music. You talked about the drummer being from Police for it. So those are little fun facts you can throw in. The thing, Josh, the important part about this is that, just like with this podcast, it's about the consistency. At first, it's going to be very like daunting because it's like, oh man, I want to have a lot of people on, and maybe at first it doesn't catch on right away. But the idea is that you're doing it because you love it, right?
Yeah, like, you're trying. You love doing it.
Yep. You just do it because you know why? Just do it because when you come home, you want to have something. You want to have a plan of like, what am I going to do? And even if it's not to a world of like thousands of views at first, it's going to be just for you to be like, I have to get this thing done so that you can finish it and go, hey, I completed this task that I had set. Yeah, just check it off the list, and then it's something you love, and then it's something that you can plan for, and it is work. Whether or not you get paid at first, it is work because you're going to do this thing. You're going to record. You're going to talk about something that you're adding value to that memory by saying
that means a lot to me. Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So it is work, and you're gonna go and you're gonna accomplish something that day. So I think like let's start with that is plan your first episode. If you can get through your first episode, you can get through that second one, and it's so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And you can, if you want, you can when you have those things thought out, like
it's best to like write all down.
Yeah, write it down, man. Just write.
You go or do you do a script? Like, did you do a script for that, or is
rarely, man? Rarely do I ever do scripts. I don't like them. You know why? Because I like the authenticity of like I'm coming up with it right then and there. It's how I feel in the moment about it, and so that's probably going to be the most honest.
I actually kind of agree. I don't know. I love like video essay kind of things where it's like all thought out. But for me, when I do scripts, I always just like read it, and it feels fake to me. Unless you're acting, like.
Look, there's just places. There's some people have a hard time remembering things, and so I can understand where they can want the script, and so but for me, I found that like the most authentic reaction I have to things is going to be like in that moment, and so I think that with what you're doing, with what you're planning to do, it's based off of like a genuine feeling of how you feel about that thing in that moment.
A genuine emotional reaction to a game. Yeah,
exactly. And so like if you're like, oh, just to see the excitement of like, oh, actually, I didn't think about this. And then you go on and talk about something else that you didn't remember right then in the moment until you started going through the game. I think that's the stuff that adds value to it. If people go, oh, yeah, actually, I agree with that. Or I also felt that way. And so I think it'll be easier for you if you and more genuine if you I think if you start and go, I'm gonna play through this thing. I'm gonna talk about some things. Maybe you could write down basic points like, hey, I really like this. And so you just remember here and there, you just talk about certain things you liked. But as far as your commentary on it, I think as you play through it, you figure out what's good and what's not. And you can edit it, Josh. Like if there's moments where you have like you're quiet and you're playing and you're just like, I don't have much to say about this, you just skip out those parts and then you just leave in
Everything. Gotcha.
no, yeah, you can edit it if you want. You can cut it, chop out pieces, and be like, I don't like this part, leave it out.
I don't want to spoil because I thought like, what if I was filming it and all of a sudden the car bucks for the window and I'm like, I'm gonna film this too.
Exactly. You can add that to it. Don't make the mission so large. Start where it's reachable for you.
Oh, start like small and like
Start out small, man. Like just do a quick little video of on the capture card. Just make sure it works. How about that? Start with making sure the capture card works.
rough draft kind of 10-minute video about Spike.
Yeah, do a rough draft and be like, hey, here's a retro game that you guys haven't played in a while. I'm gonna go through Skyrim, right? Yeah, I'm gonna.
Well, I mean, technically, Skyrim is retro. If you think about it, it's 20 years
old. It is now retro. I agree with you. Yeah. But hey, I'm gonna go through a retro game, Spyro. Haven't heard that in a while, and then you just go through your playthrough of it, and and then whatever you like you can keep it as a like 5-minute video, and then you might find out that just these 5 minutes of you going, hey, you guys remember this part? You guys remember this? This is what I did.
It's not enough. Yeah.
Yeah, you could just edit it to a small little video. Just make sure it works. That's all. Make your first video a proof of content.
You don't want to do it too much longer, right? Because you'll get overwhelmed. Yeah, I got you.
No, man, because it can get overwhelming. So just make it easy. Make sure the card works. That should be your first. I think you can check that.
Yeah, like kind of like a rough kind of demo, rough
draft. Yeah, like connect it. Is this thing gonna work? This is a test, and if you can launch like a test little video, that's score 1 for you, man.
Oh, all right.
I think okay, so now you have that set. You want Spyro, and then you saw the capture card. That's affordable for you, right?
I'm literally gonna buy it after we're done talking.
Okay. All right. So
I'll show you monster capture cards.
So Spyro, and then making sure the capture card works is going to be the first thing. You're going to plug it in, and then let me know if it does or if it doesn't work, and then that would be like your first thing to do. And then once that's set up, next thing to do is like, all right, well, this thing works. Can I upload this? That would be your next thing. Yeah. And then so on and so forth, man. Just little blocks. Take on little tasks.
I definitely want to do a Dragon Ball Z game episode too.
Which one are you going for?
You gotta go Budokai, man. This is the OG.
That's the OG.
OG, yeah. We got. I'm gonna have you on there too. If you guessed,
I would be happy to. Yeah, let me know.
You'd be like the best one I have. Maybe Nick, but definitely, I think
I would be happy to. Yeah, just let me know when you plan to do that. See, this is why it's important to do like little steps here, because now you can plan for guests when you have, hey, we're having this person on for.
And we also think about if you want podcast format or just like you both do separate things.
So here's what I did. We did do game commentary a couple of times, and we used the microphone. Like there's I'm sure I could let you borrow. There's one that I have that's a USB that connects.
Oh, fuck it, all right.
And so then you could do your commentaries with that microphone. It's pretty decent. And then the capture card will record the gameplay, and then you can it uploads the recording together with the commentary and the capture card. So then all you have to do is throw it in a basic editor.
You don't need like a Blue Yeti or not expensive, right?
You don't need anything expensive. No, I have like I'm telling you, I have the mic. I'm sure it's technically Jake's, but I'm sure he'd be happy letting you borrow it because he just left it at my house. So we could lend you that one and then get started with it, man.
Yeah, because I was thinking that's the plan. First episode is Spyro.
Yep.
Second episode is PS2 Budokai trilogy. Which one did you play the most when you were a kid? I was 3 all the time.
So Budokai 3 was my first game. That was the first one I played of the series.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that was like my introduction to Budokai was 3. So it was actually or is it Budokai Tenkaichi 3? I don't remember.
Yeah, for me it was I first played Budokai 1, then I played 3, and I played Budokai 2. Fucking weird ass the board game and shit.
Yeah, no. I only remember, I don't know if it was Budokai Tenkaichi or one of those, but it had Budokai in it, is what I remember.
Tenkaichi 3 is like one of the best games.
I believe it's that one. Yeah, I want to say it's that one. And so that was my introduction to those games. So I would be I would be brand new at the other ones because I never played them.
Oh, you don't play like the side scoring ones?
No, not the ones, not Budokai 1, 2, or 3. It was Tenkaichi, yeah.
We'll do Tenkaichi then. So we gotta get something you remember too. Yeah.
Any Dragon Ball game, you got to have me, Nick, or David. Any of those are good options.
I'm not gonna do Persona if I get you beyond.
Yeah, no.
Persona's I still got, but this is one of his favorite games.
Yeah, you know, for me, anything Dragon Ball, anything Gears of War, and anything what was the other one?
Call of Duty, Halo.
Yeah, Call of Duty or Halo. Just that's stuff that I'm familiar with. So you can hit me up for that.
You talk about Modern Warfare 2, how everybody would shoot the noob tubes to get like
Modern Warfare. If you ever do Modern Warfare 2 or the first Modern Warfare, you let me know because that's
I definitely will. I think you remember in Modern Warfare 2 when people just shoot like the grenade launcher up in the air and get like 5 kills, and they never fixed it.
I'll tell a story about the original Modern Warfare because that was my first view. Like, I had never seen anything Marine Corps related until I played that.
So is that like you're like?
That's where my fascination with the Marine Corps started.
Okay, I think I actually remember we were friends and I was with you when you started playing it because we played a couple times and you were like talking about like you lit up when you tried.
I know. So just if you ever have that game, just know that that's my cup of tea. So we can talk about that.
You remember too? Before we on the next stuff, remember back in the day it was like Call of Duty 4 versus World at War all fucking time. Which was basically at the right time, and I remember you were like, who the fuck played World at War?
I wasn't like a huge fan of that game. It was
campaign's fun, but zombies, but multiplayer kind of shit.
The zombies always kind of like was a turnoff for me, where it was like, I just took away from the realism of. I always liked the realism of the games. So when it's zombies, the
multiplayer in World War, Josh, is very like the guns kind of suck. Like it's like they're old guns. They suck. Like most of the time when you use like a Browning, it just sucks. It doesn't do anything.
Right.
Because the rate of fire is terrible. You're like, oh my god.
Right. So yeah. Anything related to that stuff, you let me know. So but just start out with something simple. Don't get overwhelmed. Just the first mission is can you get a capture card? And and if you can, that's check that box, man. Like, hey, I checked the box. We got the capture card.
To be fair too, I think a lot of my like Mike's always telling me I'd be perfect at streaming and doing the videos and all that.
I've been telling you that for a while.
Tell me that too, yes.
I've been telling you that for a while. Don't worry about anything else. Just get to the first video, and you can only build that habit if you go through the mistakes. So don't beat yourself up when you start having those, because that's gonna be part of it. You're just gonna start to have.
I think the kind of like segue from that.
Yeah.
As I get older, and this is advice for everybody. Like for anybody who's watching this or struggling, I'm going through and is a lot younger.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to make mistakes. It really is. And for a long time, I didn't understand. I still don't understand sometimes. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if I make mistakes, I'm never good. But that's the beauty of it. You can't learn if you don't make mistakes, and you can't get better if you don't make mistakes.
That's exactly right.
Like you gotta learn to walk before you can run. It's like you can't just start jogging immediately, and that's why I learned my life. Is like it's okay to make mistakes because that's what makes us human. If you didn't make mistakes, then you wouldn't be a human being.
Something, Josh, too, that's important is the loneliness and depression and stuff. Like we chatted about this in the first episode, right? Like it can feel like it's just you, and I think like when you were a guest for the first time with us, you were you and I were both talking about how at times it just feels like you're the only person feeling that way, and that you're like stuck kind of in the middle of the ocean. Just
it still feels like that most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that we all have a potential to be able to help in that way, and not just ourselves. It starts with ourselves, but then also it spreads to others. And so that's why I think that if you start that, like your own little thing of media, that the stuff that helped you, right? Like this stuff helped you get through your tough days.
Yeah, it did. There's a lot of YouTubers that like, and people in general, and content, movie, anything. Creative media in general that I still watch to this day.
So what kept you going? I think like that's something where you want to. I think that's your calling is what kept you going. You want to keep that going, right?
Yes, I think that I just got an idea for what the basis of the channel will be.
Okay,
it's the emotional impact of video games and how it affects us every day, and how it makes us feel better, and how it makes us go through life easily.
Josh, I love that. I think like if you do that, wow, what an impact you could have with that.
And no one does that shit. No one talks about this. They're just
I've
like,
never heard
yeah, this
I've
game's
never heard
fucking
anyone
awesome.
talk about the emotional side of video games. So uh I would
There you
love
go.
to
That's the idea right
that's the
there.
idea. I would love to see what you do with
It's
that,
like
man.
that quote from the first episode. We won the night. I got it. It's
I love that.
amazing.
I love that, man. So I think that's a good start. Yes, we want to start with
100%.
Spyro, and the idea of the channel will be to discuss the emotional side of how much video games have helped. Not just you, but for others that have had a hard time in life. I think
Yes.
that's a good way to that's a good place to start, man.
That was a pretty good start. Like that, a lot of people grew up in. Like I had to see. Well, this is was kind of fun. I was gonna say a lot of people grew up in the '90s. No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
No,
people grew up with that game. You know.
and one thing I'm going to leave you with, Josh, is this.
Mhm.
Right, if you haven't written it down, write it down, because you're going to you told me yourself, right?
Get my
But
notes section out right now. Yep.
with yeah, write it down, right? Okay, because what you're gonna do is you told me that right
Yeah.
now you're fine, but you're gonna be sad later. And when that happens, right, you can look at that and go, no, today I did this. What I do want to do is cover those things and like the plan for that. So you said, right, like you wrote that down, and then getting a
Yeah.
capture
Step
card.
one. Step one, and I'm gonna put get capture card.
Yep.
And I have a camera on my laptop too. I could use that as well.
Yeah. So you don't technically need. That's what I like about it. You can make it faceless if you want, but if you do want to add face recording, you can do that too. But the beauty of the capture cards is that they record your gameplay and
And
they
audio,
record
yeah.
your audio, so you can talk
Oh, it's gameplay. Got
as
it.
you're playing through it, and it doesn't have to involve filming yourself at all. You can. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that you could do it just as well without it.
I might start out without it first because like honestly, I do get camera shy sometimes.
Okay. I like it, man. What do you think?
I think it's perfect. I'm excited now.
I'd like to see how you're doing from time to time. We're gonna check in on you, man. Like same thing how we've done. This is
I
your first.
appreciate it.
This is the third time you've been on, so we're gonna circle back to you. So,
Last.
so this isn't gonna be the last chat we have about it. So we'll check back in, and if there's anything that you need advice with or help with, just let me know, and then I'll chime in when I can. Just know that if you don't hear from me right away, it's not because I'm like ignoring you. It's because there's a lot of stuff going on from
No,
Lord.
no, no. That's one thing about you where I know you're always gonna be there because it's just because you're busy. Like
I'll get back to you. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it. I'll get back to you.
You're not one of those people where I question. Like some of my friends, I'm like, you're not really busy. And not like our friend, but I have some friends.
Exactly, right. So just know that I'm gonna get back to you. Just don't feel any kind of way if it's not right away. Just
I
always
actually never feel that way when I talk to you.
well, good.
Yeah, I never do.
So, but just know we're gonna check back in, and we're gonna
Are we
see how.
ending now or not yet?
Well, it's up to you. Do you want to? Are there any things you want to talk about that we didn't?
Yeah, I do want to do the quotes and the
Go for
fire.
it. You go for it.
The fire can be next time if you want. I don't know. It's up to you.
No, we can chat about whatever you want, man. We have
So the fire thing, I just want. I had a fire in my house a while back, but last year we had this. I was staying for the week, whole week. So I was just like, at my family's house. I was there for a whole month. At my original house, I left a while back in Mill Forest, and I went. I remember the day it happened. I went with Vince. We saw Kong the Empire. It was a terrible movie. That should have been like the Ryan on the wall there. But I got home, went to sleep. All of a sudden, I heard my brother screaming, "Water, water!" at the top of his lung. And for a second, my brother sometimes he just freaks out because he's late for work. I get it. He's like, I thought that was it. I definitely glad I got up. As I got up, I was a screaming fire. There was a smoke in the house. I go in, his bed's on fire. The whole thing, really on fire. His bed's like, and we started screaming. We were freaking out. We didn't know what to do. My brother's freaking out. So then we go. I have to run outside. I call the ambulance. They're 20 minutes late. So we had to run outside, and they said they're late because the ambulance in Oak Forest doesn't work. I guess the fire truck. The fire truck.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my god. So they're like that late, and the house is already like on fire. So eventually they get there. They blow the fire out. We're all like freaking out, crying. My brother's really like he burnt his hands really bad trying to get the rug out because it was on fire, and he got 3rd-degree burns on his hands.
Wow.
That was another problem. He had to go get a hospital, get that done, and he had to get surgery on it. and he doesn't have any insurance, so he owes a lot of money to them. But we remember we were out. They finally came 20 minutes later. I still can't believe they came so late. It was awful. They came, they got it, and they smashed the windows, which was like, I understand they have to do it, but they did to all the windows, and that's what basically killed the house. Because my mom doesn't have insurance in the house or anything, and she doesn't have mortgage or anything. So once they did that, the house is like unlivable at that point.
Yeah.
And I remember my brother's room. We came back in there, and it was gone. Like his whole room was just like, it was still there, but nothing. All his possessions was torched.
Yeah.
And he did feel that. So I'll never forget this moment where I was out waiting out there, and he came back to see what he lost, and it was all gone. Everything. His clothes, his PS5, his possessions, his money. He had said everything was gone. And he came there, and he was just like screaming, crying.
Mm-hmm.
You could hear it outside, and it made me like break down.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not real. I can't believe what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was a really bad situation, and especially from the fact that the same year I lost my uncle Jeff, who I haven't talked to in years, and I finally started talking to him again, and he died. And I lost my friend Dwight. He overdosed on drugs, and like, he didn't take like, drugs in years, and then he went to do it just for fun, and he overdosed. Because someone laced it, they laced drugs, someone put like something extra in there, and he overdosed. His heart exploded. So it's like, and then it's like just been a horrible year for me. That honestly, that house fire changed me, because I realized that life's really short. Because I literally could have died if I didn't wake up, Josh. I would have been dead by now, because it would just came my room and killed me. And it really changed me. It made me kind of scared a little bit to do anything really, because it just like, there's so much bad news. I'm sure you sometimes know, you get used to it. You're like, this is it. Is this what I'm all good for? It's just bad things in my life. Yeah, and I have all these medical issues. At that time, it just made me want to just give up on life, and that's been that way for a while now. Where I just been like, besides we did the podcast really helped, man. I'm like, and the video we're talking about, I'm gonna do it. That's fun. But in terms of how I was thinking before this episode, and still kind of am, is I did write this whole thing about literally how I was feeling. Like, it's really depressing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to read the whole thing, but I did. It's not. I'm aware everybody ahead of time. If you're sensitive to this stuff, it's gonna make you kind of feel sad, which is But the thing it says, the truth I feel about my life at the moment is I'm frozen in tears. I hit rock bottom. I've given up. I try and try, but I always fail no matter how hard I try. I feel like I let everyone down in my life constantly, and especially myself. I hate my life right now, and to be honest, I really don't like myself. I wish I did, but I don't. I hate that I have asthma. I just go on about everything. And that helped me get it all on my chest. But I did that saying I said first still is how I feel. I'm frozen in tears.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, the YouTube challenge, we talk about that makes me excited. But before we talk about that, and still kind of now, I feel like I'm frozen. That's the best way to describe it. I've been frozen for 10 years now. Since my emotional trauma when I was a kid, I just don't know what to do. Seems like everywhere I go, everywhere I try, nothing ever works out for me, and it sucks.
Well, that's really heavy, Josh. There's really no saying like, oh yeah, it's fine, because I don't think that it is.
That's like the worst thing. Not the worst thing, but sometimes when people say that, it can be a little hard to hear it when they say, like for instance, I'm not gonna say names, but some people in my life feel like they need to tell me my life is easy, and I get really upset with that. It hurts my feelings because I wouldn't wish this on anybody. It's just pain.
Well, Josh, I think one thing that I can say that we can kind of hang together in is that I think that no matter where I look around, we all come here with a lot of challenges. I don't think I've talked to anybody yet where I haven't seen like a great deal of pain, a great deal of difficulty. And so I think in a lot of ways, we're all together in it that way. In that,
I'm beginning to realize that too.
In that we're here all with very unique difficulties. So I could never understand exactly what you're going through, and and perhaps nobody else can understand exactly what I'm going through. But I think the part in which we can all unite in is that it it is a difficult experience, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Human, yes, yes.
yeah, it is a difficult experience to be here, and I've gone through my stuff, and like I told you, I've had my battles with depression. This exists because of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Is because
It's a
of it.
giant stuff, yeah. Mhm.
And so I'll tell you, man, like that's where you and I can connect. Is that we understand that this is hard, and we look at life and say, why is this happening? Why is it so difficult? But I think that when we ask those questions, as we start to uncover what it is that we can do, right? Because we know we
Yeah,
can't do there's certain things we can't do, right? Like we can't control what other people say, we can't control what other people do. As kids, the hardest part is when we realize as adults that our parents maybe aren't as knowing as we thought they were,
yes.
and
That changed my life in that sense too. I agree with that.
so
It's what
so
you know,
becoming an adult, man, is just that realization of like we're all not 100% sure of what's
yeah,
going on. So what can we do? What do we have control over? I think when you start asking that question, Josh, the what do I have control over, you'll get your answer.
yeah.
And so just start where you can. Don't compare yourself to where other people are. Start where you are, where you feel you can reach, even
I
if it's
think that's the thing I always do. Not wrong isn't just the mistake I always make is, for instance, like my teeth are going. Like I don't have any teeth.
Mhm.
Like I just gave up on brushing them for a while, so this guy got really bad. Like
Yeah.
they're really, I don't have, they can't afford to fix them. So a lot of times I see people with good smiles, and I just start crying. 'Cause I'm jealous. I wish, you know. But the thing I've learned is that I'm trying to learn, I guess, and trying to realize is that I still can see, I can still hear, I can still smile, I can still talk, I'm
You can
still a human
talk.
being.
Exactly.
I can still walk. I'm grateful I broke my leg and I got it fixed. I got healed. Um, so
S
it's like things
Josh,
could be a lot worse.
you just said something really important, and I hope that you remember this.
Yeah,
Depression tells you what you don't have. What you have control over is you can say what you do,
yeah,
and start there. All right.
yep.
So what do I have? Okay. So you just said you have your speech, you have your vision, you can hear, you can hold
I have a
conversation.
family. I got friends. They like two mom, dad. They love me. I
Yeah.
got a brother. I got my friends. I got a bunch of friends who love me and care about me.
So what can
I
you do
got
with that? That's the next question. Is
I
okay.
have possessions. I have millions of games and movies, and not that that's the only thing. I have I have a
No,
bunch
but
of yeah.
sure,
It helps.
but that's I think the beauty of it all, Josh, is that there's two sides to this. So I think life is a lot about perspective. So like
It is, yeah.
I think that because a lot of bad things have happened as well to me, and the more that I sat in like what I didn't have and what I
The more you sat in that like darkness, yeah,
yeah, the more that grew, man. Like the more I sat in that and just like, what don't I have? I wish I had this. I wish I had that. And not in what can I do with what I have. That was the life that came out because it's about perspective. And you can't depression isn't something you can just like wake up will away and just be like, yeah, this is gonna go away the moment good things start happening. That's not true.
no,
Darkness visits you when there's light, man. Like it's not something that just goes away. But when you do sit with what you do have and what you can do, that's how you control it. That's where you go. It doesn't have to be as dark. It doesn't have to be as difficult to move out of that. And so I still face it. There's still times where it comes at me, and I have the waves of like sadness, and I think about, man, this is really difficult right now. But fortunately, because I have all these things that I've built for myself that I'm
yeah,
starting to be able to come back to, it doesn't have to be as dark. And that's what we're working on right now, Josh, is this. And you've helped me with this. You were in the first episode, and you're like, yeah, I want to open up about this stuff. And yeah, for a lot of people it might be difficult to hear, but I mean, it's better to be honest than to say, hey, everything's fine, and it's not. because
yeah, exactly. Because it's better to not hold it in. It's better to talk about it and be
because
open.
it's dishonest to yourself to say like, yeah, everything's good, like we're
You're
all.
lying to yourself. Yep.
That's why when I said like, hey, like we're gonna have you on, and you mentioned to me, hey, like there's a lot of stuff I'm having issues with. Is this gonna be a problem? Like I told you, like that's something that Obviously, as long as it's not severe, like where we're talking about
Yeah,
like
like, cut
hurting,
my hand off.
like hurting yourself or something, like unless it's something like that, like we can talk about it and have like open discussion about what it is that you're feeling, and then what can we do, right? Like
I
what is
appreciate that too. So I think I realized what you were saying is it's okay to have these thoughts. And I think you're right.
yeah,
That's a good advice for everybody.
I
It's okay to be depressed. It's okay. It depends on what you do at that point, but it's
but
okay
that
to be.
it's okay to feel it, right? Like it's okay to let yourself feel whatever you're gonna feel, and don't hold it in, because the more you hold it in, the worse it's gonna get. And so just confront it. And yes, it's gonna be difficult, and yes, it is heavy, and that's why we try to avoid it. But what can you do? And that's one thing that has kept me going is, okay, so I don't have all these things that have happened to me. I don't have control over these things. So what do I have? And every time it's okay, I
For
can
me,
do this.
depression is like a shadow. Like for me, it's always that thing over my head that's staying over me, like like a darkness. But the thing about darkness is there's always gonna be light. You know what I mean? There's always
Josh, you're onto something. This is something that I'm still working on, right? Like this is
yeah,
something that I believe might be true, and it seems as though it is that. Again, back to perspective, where it's how can you appreciate the good times and the people that care about you, and how can you appreciate all that stuff without knowing darkness, like without
yes.
no,
There was a
yeah,
quote before I want to say it, so I remember
yeah.
it. Just quotes I want to say, and I was also going to say, darkness does not exist without light, and light does not exist without darkness. There are two sides of the same coin. You cannot be happy without knowing what true sadness is, because you're not truly happy at that point, in my opinion. I feel like everyone who was at one point where they were got there at the point they are now because they went through that. And this is a good quote. Why I always love I have like a quote section on my phone, and this one's from a manga, like a Japanese, comic. It's called Vagabond. It's like samurai stuff. There's no light for those who do not know darkness. Live on and endure the shadows. It's by a monk. This is exactly what I'm saying. Like you gotta know what the pain is before you can, that's it, or that's not for everybody. But for me, depression may be terrible, but it also made me stronger, a stronger person. And I thought that I appreciate it, but it's actually almost kind of a good thing because it got me to realize what truly matters in my life. And I realized that I had a lot of things because when you know what despair is, you also know what love is and light, happiness. And that, you know what I mean? It's like,
I think that's why we're here. And so like so it's in those moments where you're having a hard time and thinking about
yeah,
all the struggles that you're going through, that you go, okay, so despite all that, what do I have, and what can I do? And I think that's what we're here to do, to
yeah,
discover that there's a lot we can do. And that's what makes the highs so high, is that you've experienced how low it can be.
yeah.
So I think that's a good way to
Yeah.
close off this conversation,
Before
man.
we close, I have one more quote to read. So this one's like always, I think a lot of people can relate to this. It's from a video game, a horror game, actually. It's called Prey.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people can relate to this because this is how I feel about why I view my depression as, as like what I think it looks like to me. He's by this guy named Morgan Yu is the main character. And he says, I keep having this dream. I'm just staring into the black between the stars. There's something there I know there is. I just can't see it, but it sees me. I can feel it hate us. I know you know what I'm talking about, or you will soon. And I always view my depression as that thing.
Mhm.
Not me. It's something else looking at me. It's the dark side of me.
Mhm.
It's staring at me somewhere else, and I don't like it. But it's there haunting me. And it's kind of a part of me, but it's not. And when I think what it means by when people know what you know what I'm talking about, you will soon, is a lot of people go for that. Everybody goes for that. Everybody knows that darker side of their personality,
Absolutely.
what they go through. And I think the power is beating that, the being in that the side of you. That's because everybody has that dark side.
Yeah. And the idea here isn't that we pretend it doesn't exist.
Yes.
We acknowledge that it's there, but we're not going to get rid of it, right? I don't think that
Yeah.
that's something that it goes away. I think that what we learn to do is to live with it and to acknowledge its presence and say, hey, I understand where you come from. I understand what it is that you're trying to tell me. And so you appreciate what you do have and acknowledge that sadness is.
I think depression, in some ways, is like your brain telling you need to act now. I've often felt like that it's kind of a warning sign.
Mm.
Like something's wrong, you need to start doing something. Here's the final quote. This is the one that's a good thing. I think it's a good quote. Elvis Presley once said, "It's not how much you have that makes people look up to you. It's who you are. It's not about how much you fucking do or make or much money to make what people look up to you is who you are as a person."
And I think, well, I'll leave you with one last thing, Josh. One last
Mhm.
thought. I think that you, what would your life be like? You know, if at the end of the day you could write your book, your last chapter, and say that, despite all of the things, all of the dark things, and all of the heavy burdens you carried, what were you able to do with that? And I
Yeah,
think that
that's
is
good.
the
That's good.
chapter. I would love to see what you do with this idea of talking about how video games have had an emotional impact on you, and I think that many people would connect to it. So I hope you stick to that. And this is the part that you have control over, Josh. I can only say, hey, this is I think this would be a good idea,
Yeah.
and the rest of the part that's going to be you, man. You're going to walk that path. You're
Yeah.
going to be the one that goes and goes, all right, let me.
And then at the end of the day, like, um, I'm starting. I can do it if I really if I really believe in myself, and if I don't, that's the thing I always tell everybody is like, if you don't believe in yourself, believe in the people that believe in you. Obviously you believe in yourself, but I like to think that other people are rooting for me.
So I believe, and I'm one of them. So that's why when you look at that list, when you're having a hard time, because it's going to happen, we're not going to pretend that you're not going. You're going to
Yeah, sure.
and then suddenly you're all good to go. No, I understand that's not how it works. You're going to leave this conversation, and some time will pass, and you'll be sitting and thinking about, the sadness will revisit you, the depression will be there. It's not going to go away, but you have something now, and so you can look at this thing that you've
I actually
created.
want to. Yep.
Yeah, you have something to respond to it with, which is, I have this thing that I'm gonna do. And so just remember that, just that you've started something. And so tomorrow, when you wake up, you get to start moving towards it. And it's gonna be slow, and at first it's not gonna be the easiest thing in the world. But
Yeah.
once you just get into the habit. Once you get into the habit, man, of like, get through the first 10 episodes. That's all you have to do. Get
And
through
I
the
think
first
about
10
what this
episodes.
channel's called too. I forgot about
Exactly. Get get
shit.
get through the first 10 episodes, man, and then let me know when that happens, and we'll check back in, and then we will have a conversation. And if you have a hard time, let me know.
All right,
Man.
we've won the night.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Love you. Take care. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one, dude. All right.
You
Love you,
too.
bro.
Love you. Later.